Last November, ladies and gentlemen, Jean-Philippe Caraës, E&I Segment Manager Power Latin America at Hilti Group, was elected the 2020 Global Fleet Manager of the Year. He will now share the building blocks of his winning strategy and reveal how to set up a global program with respect for regional and local stakeholder involvement.
Good morning, good afternoon to all, wherever you are. My name is Jean-Philippe. I've been working for Hilti for 2 years and a half. And until last month, I was based in Liechtenstein in our headquarters, looking after a global fleet of vehicles for the company. I've now moved to the opposite side of the company, literally, since I now belong to the sales function, but also geographically, as I'm based in Panama. I do have a successor. His name is Milko Lyubanov, and I'm sure you will get to know him better in future events organized by Fleet Europe. Nevertheless, for today, I will still hold the mic, as I will have the pleasure to tell you a little bit more about our fleet program at Hilti. I was told to share my best tips for my peers. Truth be told, I'm not sure that our way is the best way or the only way, but we are quite happy with how the category has developed for the past few years. So I'll do my best to share to share a couple of insights here. So without further ado, let's start. And this is Hilti. We were founded and are still based in Liechtenstein. It's a tiny country, nudged between Switzerland and Austria. We operate in the construction industry. We provide tools and services. Some of you may have seen or used our red tools in home projects. We are 100% family owned, which does have a big impact. It means we're not bound to the short-term financial market fluctuations, and rather are pretty much free to decide where we want to invest our time and energy, and where we want to what do we want to prioritize and focus. Key in our business model is that we have a direct sales approach, which means that we have account managers visiting customers on job sites and at offices on a daily basis. And for these people, for these employees, the vehicle is a key part of their job, of their daily work. This means the more we grow, the more account managers we need, and therefore the more vehicles we put on the road, which is a good news for our category. This is the scope of our category. We have about 14,000 vehicles worldwide. 35% would be in emerging markets. And throwing a few more key figures here, about 80% of these 14,000 are red fleet or tools of trade, which are used by account managers, so branded red vehicles. Whereas the remaining 20% would be benefit cars used by middle to senior managers. We also have about 35% of LCVs in our fleet globally. In terms of strategy, in a nutshell, to keep it very simple here, we go for full service leasing for all our vehicles worldwide. Tiny exceptions in 2 or 3 markets. We aim to leverage our global partners and the key contract terms that come with it everywhere we can, while fitting to local specifications. Why? Because market organizations at Hilti still hold the final decisions. We do not dictate from HQ. From a structure or stakeholder perspective, the mature group lead is in the middle orchestrating the different topics, strategy, sharing best practices, organizing community exchanges, and of course then making the contact with the other stakeholders here, which we have first regional procurement or head of procurement in each of the regions in Hilti. These guys will look after the local tenders, regional tenders sometimes, and engage with local partners. They are the direct extension of the strategy at local level. And then finally, the local car fleet manager or a fleet administrator, way more focused, of course, on day-to-day purchase and administration of the fleet. Keeping things simple also for this slide, and I will not talk about the nitty-gritty details here. The key message is 1, invest time to know your fleet, and that would be the first tip for today. Invest time and energy in finding out where are your markets, how many vehicles, models, brands, and who are your partners there, and what is the share of these partners globally. It may seem obvious, but as most of you know, it's not always that easy to get to this detail of information. And second step, I am big fan of sharing this information back to the partners. Some data will be anonymized as it is on this slide today, but nonetheless sharing back to the partners so they understand where they stand and understand also where they can focus to grow their own business. So really to collaborate from that perspective. And this is valid for both leasing partners and OEM partners, which we have 4 and 4 at Hilti. Going quite fast here, so we can have more time for the questions later on. But I'd like to open now the box on one big stone of our program, which was the vehicle management playbook. This playbook is we really see it as a toolbox to lift pain points, increase efficiency, and improve commercial terms for all the managers involved in the decision process of purchasing a vehicle. In fact, we designed this document trying to answer the following question: how do I find a cost-effective vehicle which keeps my people engaged and drives as much sales as possible? We figured that's the key question which our finance business partners, the decision makers in our case, and GMs will be asking themselves before making such decisions. This document has a lot of content. It's 90 pages strong. We cover the key facts of the category. We cover the overall strategy, as well as the different partners that we currently work with, their contract terms. We offer best practices, negotiation tips, tender guides, and a whole lot of templates that go with the document. We try to make it as user-friendly as possible. You have to digest 90 pages in the end. And well, I'm happy to say that we got very good feedback from our internal stakeholders, and it has been seen as it has been said that it was the best-in-class document in the company. So this was a big stone in making our category more mature within Hilti. Moving on to the second stone now of our program, and that's about sustainability. Now, it's very hard in such a short 15 minutes format presentation to talk about this topic. It could easily be 1-2 hours on its own, but let's try. Hilti has launched an ambitious sustainability program last year, which targets carbon neutrality by 2023. It comes with a number of pillars. It's not just about CO2 neutrality. Some things such as circularity in our business, health and safety for our employees, our business partners, and stakeholders, as well as trying to contribute to a better society and higher ethical standards. All these form the sustainability program of Hilti. Now, for us, being the vehicle fleet category, of course, we are a key lever in the environment pillar and the CO2 neutrality objective. In fact, 48% of the Hilti's total CO2 emissions come from the vehicle fleet. That's pre-COVID year, and currently post-COVID or current COVID situation, the figure goes as high as 70 to 80% since the impact of business flights disappeared for now. We started our journey in June 2019, and we put quite some effort in the back office trying to do what's right. And doing what's right meant that we invested time and efforts in analyzing the different technologies, understanding the life cycle analysis of the vehicles and the technologies, all the way down to analyzing the different electricity production for our countries to have a good idea of what impact it would have for us at Hilti. And putting all these things together and making a global business case out of it, we came to the conclusion that yes, we should definitely move ahead, and it makes full sense to do it. And this conclusion has been echoed by the management board also when we presented to them. The second stage of this project was about launching the program in one lead market, which was Belgium for us. And that's what we did. We had a number of events and activities to go through these steps with them live, to learn also with them. And we then captured all this information into a second playbook, which we called local assessment playbook. And that would be this guy here. So it's also 40 pages strong. So it's also not so light. And we redesigned it to guide the different market organizations at Hilti to the key project step and analysis up until decisions for the leadership team. So there is no time to be wasted in figuring out how to do the transition. You have to apply this playbook, and it will lead you to your own trade-offs at local level for your leadership team to make the decision. We cover project management setup, the driver questionnaire to understand who in your fleet could move and who should wait potentially. What range should you target with your new vehicles, as well as multi-criteria analysis, including total cost of ownership considerations. As for the previous playbook, it also comes with a number of templates and documents to complement and help the colleagues on the ground. So, and now sort of summarizing this presentation, and that's the key blocks I wanted to present, the playbook and the local assessment or transition to the alternative technology program. And through these things, we're quite confident we have developed and matured a category over the past few years. And I can just repeat, we built upon what was previously created by my predecessors. One interesting thing is we also used the first playbook. We leveraged the knowledge that it contained to engage better with our fleet community. We now have 3 to 5 times a year global community calls where 40 plus managers involved in the fleet decisions join, and we can share best practices and keep them up to date to what is happening also from a global perspective. Also in these current days where we talk a lot about the transition to new technologies. In fact, and I forgot to mention that earlier, about 50% of our fleet is currently actively working on transitioning the fleet, and we still expect quite some transitions to occur still in 2021. The first market being Belgium in about 2 months from now. So definitely looking forward to seeing the first pictures soon. So that's what we did at Hilti, and my humble tips for fleet peers. It worked for us. It may work for your business too. You will let us know. But my number one would be to know your fleet. I really think this was a good investment. This will boost your productivity when exchanging with your partners. It will just help you know your numbers, and that's never a bad idea. Point number 2, collect best practices around your market organizations and make it available to all fleet managers. There are different ways to go about things in the fleet category, and all of them have pros and cons. So what we did was to collect that, and we made it available through this playbook to all the other colleagues. And third point, define your vision for your category and orchestrate a plan to make it reality. And as I said, this worked quite well for us. I want to thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Jean-Philippe Caraës, E&I Segment Manager Power at Latin America region of Hilti Group, for this very inspiring session, and all the best in Panama.